7:36 p.m. Ms. Sarcisi, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Barker.
Here.
Ms. Jarrell. Here. Mr. Engel. Here. Mr. Martin. Mr. Miller.
Here.
Mr. Milner.
At this time, I would like to ask our Vice President, Mike Miller, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then Pastor Toring is going to be kind enough to say the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor Toring.
Our Heavenly Father, again, we come into thy presence thankful for the privilege it is to do so. God, we acknowledge you tonight in this meeting. This meeting is important enough to bring this honorable council together, that you would also show your presence and with wisdom, decision-making, help us to be always looking out for the weak, to do the things that are pleasing in your sight. We pray you bless our time now, in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Okay, Pastor Toring, thank you very much. The pastor's from the Liberty Valley Church, and he's been kind enough several times to say the invocation for us. Are there any changes to the minutes? If not, do I have a motion to accept?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes from the January 26, 2012. It's for a special and the regular meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Moving on, we have, the first thing usually we do every evening of our council meetings is have comments by the public. So we are now going to open up this microphone here at the gate, and please come up, give your name, your address, and your comments are welcome. Are there any public comments?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is George Plow, and I'd like to read an email which I addressed to the City Council earlier this day.
Mr. Plow, I don't want to interrupt, but it's been determined that I have a conflict of interest, and I want to ask Mr. Deemer if I should excuse myself.
Well, I've been accused of it too, so I can't give you an opinion on that.
Well, at any rate, I'm going to travel the safe route and excuse myself.
Sir, is this the email dated February 9th?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And it reads, Dear Josephine, I would request that you forward the inquiry listed below to the members of Macedonia City Council, and that the matter be addressed at a forthcoming City Council meeting. Your cooperation on this matter would be greatly appreciated. On behalf of Farnhurst LLC, I attempted to respond to a memorandum Michael addressed to the Planning Commission regarding the lot split of sublot number 6 of Parkland Estates, which was completed on or about July 8, 2010. Unfortunately, I could not because I lacked some relevant information. First, can City Council explain under what local ordinance did Mayor Kuchka, in his capacity as chairman of the
It's pronounced Cookta. Thank you.
Sorry, sir. In his capacity as chairman of the Planning Commission, and Nicholas Finney, in his capacity as a city engineer, signed the plat map which approved the lot split. Next, what weight and authority should Farnhurst LLC give the signature of the mayor and the city engineer on the approved plat map? Next, under what local ordinance is that weight and authority defined? Next, how many stamps are used to approve a lot split by the city's planning commission? What is the significance of each stamp? Again, I wonder if each stamp its significance is defined in literature maintained by the city of Macedonia. For the convenience of the city council, I have attached the plat map which approved the lot split at issue. And I have provided a separate JPG file which magnifies the signature of Donald, and I'm sorry, sir, Mayor
Cookta.
Kuchka.
Think of it as C-O-O-K.
C-O-O-K.
Thank you.
Again, thank you in advance for your cooperation on this matter. Best regards, George Lewis Plow. And basically, I think I'll let my brother talk about the facts related to the lot split which we had approved, and then ask if City Council could help us resolve that.
Thank you very much. I am Frank Plow. I want to say I moved to the city 14 years ago to raise my kids. I love it here, intend to raise my kids, and hope to make it through these issues as I go. The main reason we're here is that we made an application to the Planning Commission as directed by Mr. Ladd for the review of a single-family residential site plan as it states on the application. At the January 9th Planning Commission meeting, the item was tabled pending answers from the law director and from the city engineer. Those are reflected in the minutes from that night. Finally, we did get a memorandum on the 23rd from Mr. Ladd, and the first paragraph states inside of it that Mr. Plow is proposing to subdivide one of the lots into two. We have no application before the city to subdivide any lots at this time. What is correct historically is that we made an application to divide sublots as they appeared on the tax roll in May of 2010. And we made our application directly to Mr. Ladd. We made our payment for that application. We worked with Mr. Ladd and Mr. Finney through 3 memorandums that Mr. Finney forwarded to Mr. Ladd, which he in turn forwarded to me. Those matters were discussed. And on July 8, 2010, Mr. Ladd procured the signatures of Mr. Finney as city engineer and the signature of Mayor Gupta as chairman of the Planning Commission. That was subsequently signed by the owner of the property at that time and recorded in Summit County. And the current tax roll map shows 2 parcels existing on that. So it leads us to a lot of confusion as to how it could be represented that we are now trying to split or subdivide one lot into 2, as this memorandum states.
And may I add that when the lot was split in 2010, the county gave us 2 separate legal descriptions for each lot, 2 separate parcel ID numbers, 2 separate deeds. So for we went through the entire process of the lot split with some county, each of which about half a dozen departments that we had to go through and completed it. So obviously when we finished that lot split, we thought we had 2 lots that were ready to go on.
Are you paying taxes on 2 parcels?
Yes, sir.
So I'm sorry, this stuff I'm not real familiar with. I've never been on planning commission. What are you looking for? What's the remedy that you're looking for?
We don't know anymore because we feel that the memorandum is misguiding. It's saying that we're trying to divide 2 lots that were previously subdivided.
So there's 2 lots there currently.
This is a copy of the current tax roll, a certified map from the Summit County.
And you want to build a house on one of them next to your existing home?
Right now, we have a permit application went in September to build 1 home.
Right next to a house that you're already living
Right
in?
next to my brother's house. We are planning
On your own land, next to your house?
If I can intervene,
Yes,
please.
sir.
This is no different than a subdivision that just went in off of Skyland Road. Paul Carno had built this subdivision. Paul came to the Planning Commission and actually had the whole development designed for a certain number of sublots. Okay. He did change his mind halfway through after the approval was given and construction had begun, that he wanted to increase the number of units in that subdivision. We ran it past legal at the time and through our city planner. He had to come back to Planning Commission, get approved for his additional houses that he was going to build into that subdivision. This is exactly the same case. You can pretty much split, if you want to split your lot off and it's a legal split, we can let you do that. That doesn't give you the authority to go ahead and build a house. There's several steps that have to take place when you build a house. Number one is we have a law in existence that says homeowners association must give me a written document that it meets the covenants and deed restrictions of that subdivision, which I have never received, and I'm not allowed to issue a permit until that even comes through.
If I may I take two exceptions to what Mr. Landis said. First of all, the city did receive a written plan, which was signed by the Board of Trustees of Parkview Estate, indicating that they had approved of the home we proposed to build on that lot.
And it doesn't,
That meets-
it doesn't state
I
that.
didn't interrupt you, sir.
Okay, hold on. Just
I didn't
one at
interrupt
a
you.
time, gentlemen.
Please.
I wasn't finished, but you did. That's okay.
But anyways, we have a map, a construction drawing that indicates that we received approval from the Board of Trustees, indicating that we conform with the code of regulations and deed restrictions of the association. So that's incorrect. And
Okay,
this
let
does-
me, if that document was in fact generated by the Board of Trustees, I'm assuming we can get a copy of that.
You have
You
copies.
have
here.
copies already in the city.
They were submitted on the blueprint and part of the prerequisite to accepting a permit application. The prerequisite to submitting the permit application, it had to be accepted here in the city. It was accepted, acknowledged. There was a lot of communication about this, but somehow now.
Okay,
That's
the
a
actual
prerequisite to
codified,
submit.
the actual codified ordinance reads that it must be in a letter form, and it must say that it meets the covenants and deed restrictions. And I do not have that. What they did is there's a stamp on a drawing. I don't know if that means it met architectural standards. I don't know what that means. I need a letter from the homeowners association saying it meets the covenants and deed restrictions.
Okay, if the letter is what's required, is that a problem to get that, in fact, document that he's looking for?
I can't imagine that it would be a problem since
Okay.
the Board of Trustees.
Okay, so now we're moving along, then that's
But
good.
the other-
I beg to differ that that's not what the ordinance says.
Well, we'll look at the
I have to read the
We'll
ordinance.
address
That
that.
needs-
Okay.
needs to be-
But the other point I want to make sure, this is definitely not what was described up front. First of all, at this present time, we're not submitting two proposals for two houses, so we are not at all increasing the number of homes in this neighborhood as if you were to buy his argument, which I wholeheartedly disagree with. But if you were to buy Mr. Ladd's argument, at this point, we're not increasing the number of homes that the subdivision was originally proposed for back in 1993. But I will subject you to say this, is that when the lot split was approved and recorded in Summit County, by definition, the subdivision plat map changed. It had to have changed by the approval of the county. And the additional lot was already approved.
I also want to point out that the same process that we went through was also done in in phase 2 of the subdivision. And in that application, a lot split occurred under a survey split, and the home is currently built on that lot, and the party involved there was not required to go back through planning. So we've said our piece here. We hope to get some.
Well, if that in fact happened, and I don't know that it did, I'll take it your word, just because if they did it incorrectly back then, we're not gonna, I would hope that we won't let somebody do something incorrectly now. You see what I mean?
I think it's just, I think it's a precedence that it seems to be subjective standards.
Right.
That are being applied right here. And this is why I wrote the email. I'd like to know what those signatures on the approved plat map meant, under what authority those signatures were put onto that plat map, so that I could address Mr. Ladd's in detail.
And I just want to reiterate the fact that in zoning, any case that's given a variance or granted zoning permission way back when does not set a precedence for any kind of zoning for future, just so you know.
But let me just say this, there was no variance granted or recorded. This was
Okay.
done off the
At some
record.
point in time, gentlemen, I'm assuming that you do want to build a house there, right?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
And right now, there's currently, you live there, sir, right?
yes, I do.
Okay, and you want to build a house next to
Right next to my brother. Right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, have a good evening.
Thank you.
On behalf of the Planning Commission, since I am chairman of that commission, just so council knows that the problem that the planning commission wants addressed is a problem that we've let happen far too many times in this city. We've had far too many homes built on lots they never should have been built on. It's nice having a waterfall in your backyard, but oh my God, I feel so sorry for those residents that have to put up with the results of that. As far as I've been told and what I've said, is we will not allow a home to be built on a lot that will flood. Our engineer has made a statement loud and clear to me, Mayor, you can't build a house on that lot. So the only thing that I think that's between these men doing what they want and not is very simply, you need to get it surveyed. And how long ago did we ask for that?
I believe it was back in September.
September. That's it. Wait a minute. I thought you were done. I didn't want to start a debate. I think I'm done and you're done, and let's move on. Any other public comment?
I want to address the,
You're out of order. Out.
you're misinforming the public.
Please,
That's a mistake.
escort him out, John. I'll go out.
Oh, that's terrible.
I'm a public citizen of this city. You need to look no further than Mr. Finney's comments on the planning commission.
I'm not here to argue with you, gentlemen. I'm stating my point of view, and I allowed you to state yours. Bye-bye. All right, now we're going to move on to any other comments from the public.
Jim Zabo, Berkshire Drive, Macedonia.
Hi, Jim.
Good evening. I guess, Mr. Miller, you're acting president for council tonight, correct? Yes. What is the salary, let's say the gross salary of a councilman? $5,000. $5,000. Are you employed? Are you employed other than city council?
Am I employed somewhere else?
Yes. Do you have a profession?
I have a profession, yes.
Okay. Ms. Darrow, do you have a profession outside of council?
Yes.
Mr. Barker, profession outside of council?
Yes, I do.
Mr. Martin, profession outside of council?
You know the answer to that question?
Others may not. I take it that's a yes?
Mr. Zabo, you and I have talked several times, and I've told you that I'm an attorney in private practice.
All right.
So I would assume then that you would already understand that I already have a private practice, and then I practice privately as an attorney.
Well, this is a forum. And
Well,
I'm
the whole
making
thing about it is, if you're going to come up on a
clarifications.
forum and talk to people and run them all the way down, up and down the line for things that are very well known, I mean, I think it's a little excessive.
Mr. Engel, do you have a profession outside?
First, I'm an attorney, I work for a corporation.
Okay. So right now, there is an ordinance being discussed about council members being eligible to participate in the city employee health care. Now, you make $5,000, you won't have jobs outside of this city. One would make the logical progression then that what you do here is part-time. I don't know the hours that you put in. I'm sure none of it is just locally here inside this office at any given time. But again, it goes back to, I think it's safe to say you're part-time councilman, because this is not your full-time job. So, correct me where I'm coming off wrong on this, but you, as a council, are requesting the taxpayers to foot the bill for health care coverage for at least yourselves, possibly your family. And you all hold permanent employment in a different location. So you're asking the taxpayers who have been taxed with a 0.25% tax increase, you're now asking them, while you're employed full-time, to foot the bill for your medical insurance for yourselves or possibly your family members. I just want clarification to make sure I'm understanding that correctly, and are there other part-time city employees that are getting those health care benefits too? I don't know. Are we out of the woods financially to the point where we can afford to do this now as a city? I don't know. I'd just like you to be able to clarify that, and for the sake of the mayor, I'm going to step away, and that will indicate that I'm finished talking, so that.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Anything for you.
Let me ask you, Mr. Zabo, actually, I got a question for you.
Okay.
What if I didn't have another place of employment? What if I didn't? What if I was retired?
That's fine. That's why
I
I'm
wish I
asking the
would.
question, because, yeah, that would definitely take into some of this too. But then my question would be, if you're retired or if you were
Unemployed, right.
did you take the position on council as a means of income or as
no.
a means
No, I
of
haven't.
serving the city? Are you here to serve the city, or are you here to have the city serve you?
No, we're definitely here to serve the city. I mean,
All right.
Are there any other public comments?
Shirley Coates, 902 Eileen Drive, Macedonia. I've got a question on this too with the employee health care. I had a problem when I saw this, partly because what you're doing here is a part-time job. I believe the cost to the city, and I don't know exactly what it is, but the cost to the city for this would exceed your income. And so therefore, doubling or a little bit more than doubling what your income is from the city. I've got a problem with a lot of benefits, and I'm not talking about just you in particular. I've got problems with benefits for public employees that seem to exceed excessively what the private sector pays. And I really have a problem with doing this because of that factor. If you were going to pay the whole thing, let's say that you were going to come in and say, look, I'll pay the whole thing because what I can get through the group with the city is cheaper than I can get at my current job or as I'm self-employed or whatever the case may be. And I'd say, you know, that's fine, go ahead and do it, but don't cost the city anything. And so that's why I have a problem with that. And I think that I've seen this council turn down a lot of very small things and say, we just don't have the money. We can't do 1,000 here, we can't do 2,000 there, or 5,000 here, or whatever it may be. And yet, this is coming across as if this is small potatoes and no big deal. And so without knowing, I mean, maybe somebody can tell me what the cost of the city is to have an employee on there. What does the city actually incur? I don't know that. And then the other thing on the your motion that's down here on the rec center, I guess I don't have any problem with the discounted rate. I have a problem with the retroactive. So, and I haven't thought enough about it because I just saw this for the first time, a few minutes ago in the work session. So I haven't really thought about this. But just like you getting that memo at 5 o'clock and you're not being able to kind of react on it, I kind of have the same feeling with this. But I'm just saying that I've got a problem with at least the retroactive. So that's it. If somebody can give me that number on what it costs the city for the individuals, and if other part-time people in the city also have can take advantage of the same thing, then I've got more information to base my, how I feel about it on. So, thank you.
Shirley, you bring up some good points, and we're kind of fortunate tonight because I have a member of my staff here that can perhaps explain to the public something about what we go through to try and keep the cost of hospitalization down so we minimize taxpayers' input. Would you be willing to step forward, Denise, and address that a little bit? Talk about some of the stuff you do to keep those lines and those costs in control?
That isn't my question, though. I mean, I understand what you've done because I've seen all that.
Okay.
I've seen you do that, and I appreciate that, and I think you should do it. We do it with our own business. We look at our own insurance, at least every 2 years, and make a change where it seems appropriate. And that's not my question. I know what you do there. My
Okay.
question is the appropriateness of offering full benefits to part-time employees.
Okay, you're off the hook, Dee. Okay. As far as, but see, that's brought up so many times about the benefit plan that we have. But in Macedonia, we really put in a lot of effort to try and control costs. In fact,
I understand that, and that wasn't even my question.
yeah, I
Because
know
think you
that.
did
Yeah. I don't know how I heard that. I just thought a lot of people would want to know what we do so that we keep costs very much in line.
But that's irrelevant. I wouldn't care if it was $500 or $5,000.
Okay.
You know, the appropriateness based on what the cost of the city is, what the income of the person who's receiving that benefit is, you know, part-time versus full-time, you know, so, I mean, it's, to me, it seems excessive.
All right.
And I object to it, especially in the condition we're in with the 0.25% that we put in for specific purposes, none of which were to pay benefits to part-time employees, that I know of. So anyway, that's my objection.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other public comment?
My name is Peter Benjamin. I live at 1078 Shoshone. And Mr. Zabel and Shirley both brought up some very good comments there. But I would like the finance director to share with the folks here tonight what is the actual cost for this insurance versus a single person versus a married couple. I think we need to hear those numbers. The second thing, the motion number 3, where it is the eligibility for the recreation fee discounts. You know, I work out there, other people in this room work out there, whatever it costs us, we pay it. I don't see the logic of having a discount for any council member just so they can go out there and rec to the rec center versus them and their family. Because I can see this as a snowball effect, and I don't think it's fair. We all go there, we pay our dues, pay it every year. And I think it's totally ridiculous to even think about the retroactive 6 months. I mean, that's just not right. We've got a great rec center. It's run very well. It's a profitable entity. And a lot of you disagree with that, but I see an awful lot of people continuing to rejoin and new faces going out there. So I'm very happy with the rec center. But if you want to join, then you pay your dues like everybody else. Take it out of the $5,000 that each one of you receive in the first place. To me, I think it's the only thing. I mean, if I was on the council, I wouldn't even expect to get paid. I'd be here for my services that I can render to this city. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Bart.
Thank you.
Are there any public comments, any other public comments this evening? Hearing none, we're going to move right on to pending and/or new legislation, starting with ordinance number 3-2012.
Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 3-2012 for its second and third reading by title only.
Second.
An ordinance determining members of city council to be eligible to participate in the city's employee health care plan.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to amend the first version of ordinance number 3 to conform to the version of ordinance number 2 that was introduced on February 9th, 2012.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post according to law ordinance number 3 as amended.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Barker,
You know, this was brought up 2, 3, 4 years ago, something. I was vehemently against it back then. And because I knew I was going to run for re-election again. And I don't plan on doing that in 22 months. I plan on being done. But if this will bring additional people like Mrs. Koth, perhaps maybe in 22 months you'll run to take my seat, and I would love to see you, maybe possibly do that. And there's not many people that get involved in politics, and I think that maybe this eventually will do it. I've got good benefits through the county. I'm not going to take these ones, so I vote yes.
Ms. Darrell,
Yes.
Mr. Engel,
No.
Grandstand.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Moving on to ordinance number or resolution number 4-2012?
I'd like to offer Resolution 4, 2012 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
A resolution authorizing the mayor, oh, did you see that
That's
spelling
all
in that?
right.
More, very Irish. To file on behalf of the city of Macedonia, an application to the Summit Akron Solid Waste Management Authority, the authority, for the Community Recycling Access Grant.
What's your pleasure?
I offer that we pass and post Resolution number 4, 2012.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Darrow?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Resolution number 4-2012 passes. Is there any other legislative action?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we add to the agenda ordinance number 5-2012.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And would you like to then offer that?
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
and then I'll read it.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 5-2012 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh. An ordinance ratifying an addendum to the agreement between the City of Macedonia and Teamsters Local 436 Service Department with regards to wages.
Mr. Mayor, I move we pass and post ordinance number 5-2012 according to law.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Barker.
Yes.
Ms. Darrow.
Yes.
Mr. Engel.
Yes.
Mr. Martin.
Yes.
And Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Okay, 5-2012 passes. Are there any other motion or legislative actions this evening?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the elected officials of the City of Macedonia to be eligible to receive recreation fee discounts to the Family Recreation Center in the same amounts, description, and with the same requirements as those provided city employees in the approved plan dated January 22nd, 2004, and that would be retroactive for 6 months or 180 days from today's date.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. Are there any other motions or legislative actions? Hearing none, correspondence from the clerk?
I do, sir. Just a couple. This is to the Macedonia Police Department. Thank you for your prompt response on Monday, January 9th. It is wonderful to know that help is just a few minutes away. The compassion and care provided by Jim and Dave was not only greatly appreciated, but very comforting. God bless you all, Marge Donnelly, and that is in regards to firefighter paramedics Dave Morris and Jim Crevar. And this is to the mayor and council. This is from Roland Monagold, the superintendent of Daylo Construction, regarding the new construction Aldi's. Dear Mayor and Council, please allow me to extend my appreciation to the City of Macedonia for the comfortable work relationship with the building department during this construction time. All team members were well-versed in their role during this time. I especially liked everyone's attention to detail and understanding that each detail needed immediate attention. I have worked all over the eastern half of the United States and definitely hold Macedonia, Ohio Building Department at the top. That's it.
Very good. All right, next item on the agenda is the mayor's report. I met with Barry Withers of the Director of Public Utilities for the City of Cleveland, also Darnell Brown. He's the Chief Operating Officer for Mayor Jackson. Jason Wood, Project Coordinator for the Department of Public Utilities, and Alex Marganovitz, Acting Commissioner, to discuss separation from Cleveland Water. We discussed our city's concern with their services and cost of Cleveland Water. I have informed them that because of the threat of paying exorbitant stormwater fees to the NEORSD, we have no choice but to seek out other utility cost-saving options. I have explained to them how dependent Macedonia is on city income tax. I also explained that paying stormwater fees in Macedonia and not having to pay them in neighboring communities could have a severe impact on our lifeline. That's our businesses. Macedonia makes roughly $500,000 a year on the city operating real estate tax, while other communities in the Nordonia school system make millions a year. This is also true of our neighbors to the south. City income tax from businesses is our city's main source of revenue. Companies looking to relocate or start here consider high utility cost as a roadblock in the pathway to Macedonia. The bulk rate cost for Akron Water is $12.90 versus $31.54 for the same bulk rate from Cleveland. Without the ability to retain and further develop economic development, we're dead meat. This will have a bad effect because it will take away our ability to serve our residents. With me at the Cleveland Water meeting were our in-house engineers, Nick Feeney and Steve Schreiber, and our building commissioner, Mike Klatt. You know, we left there with a positive feeling that the complaints lodged about soaring prices and inadequate service from the Cleveland Water system were acknowledged. So now we've opened 2 doors. Do we want what's behind door number 1 or what's behind door number 2? This isn't a quiz show here, you know, but that's what we have to look at. Our engineering staff will be further meeting with Cleveland, as we did with Akron. The goals are to determine if we can work cost and service out with Cleveland. In other words, not leave. Let's talk. Can we do it better? Or do we look at long-range strategy with Akron? We need to investigate every single option. If we don't pursue this, we will never even know if we have options. People complained, we only have 1 grocery store. Now we have 3. Competition is a good thing. Maybe someday we can shop for our water supply too. I'd like to thank all those residents who wrote in agreeing with this philosophy and that we do have problems with Cleveland Water. There was one lady had a geyser 20 feet. It was going up in her backyard, and they didn't fix it until she called Channel 8. I have some of the latest figures just in from Crain's magazine regarding the most affluent communities in Northeast Ohio. Macedonia is still ranked 22nd as far as median household income. That average income is $76,331. So who else is on the list? Well, Pepper Pike is ranked 3rd. Solon is ranked 12th. Bay Village is ranked 20th. Twinsburg is ranked 24th. Average housing values in Macedonia went up $22,020. We went from an average home value of $185,925 in 2011 to 206,945 in 2012. The number of households went up by 179. Our population growth is expected to be 3.8, so this is going to continue, because last year our growth was 3.6, and you can see the results. These figures help us to realize the importance of providing the services expected by a community with homes of such value. All right, we're going to move on to committee reports. Are there any committee reports tonight?
Mr. Mayor, we have a meeting of the Planning Commission next Monday, the day before Valentine's Day, and that meeting will take place at 5:30, and I believe we're going to consider some signs and a few other items, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Did we receive any information, Mike, from the Pla brothers?
No.
So there's nothing there to pursue?
Correct.
Okay, so we're waiting since September.
That's correct.
All right, thank you. Are there any other committee reports?
Mr. Mayor, the Parks and Rec met last night. We'll meet again the second Wednesday of March. Oh, I'm sorry, the first Wednesday of March at the, we started talking about some of the playground equipment last night, and it looks like it needs some pretty serious overhaul, if not maybe need to be removed. So we're still discussing that. We'll bring it to council here very, very shortly.
Shane, I would just like to compliment Angela on the fine health fair that we had on Saturday, and also request, too, that I've noticed at least that maybe we can take a look at replacing some of the big screen televisions or some of the televisions in the rec center, because the price of big screens has gone down quite a bit, and we still have some old-fashioned CRTs there, and I'd like to, maybe if the rec committee could take a look at those, I think it might be a good step forward.
Take a look at it.
Very good. All right, any other committee reports?
Mr. Mayor, Finance Committee meeting next Thursday at 7 o'clock on the 16th. I don't see it on the calendar. That might have been an oversight, but I think everybody is aware of that. Okay.
Oh, I am sorry.
That's all right.
It's on the website, though.
That's fine. I just want to make sure everybody knows 7 o'clock next Thursday.
You know, Josephine, you didn't put that on the schedule, and I thought you were doing all of us a favor.
No, you've got to be there.
Uh-oh.
Be there or be square.
And the Safety
Darn it.
Committee will be meeting next, what's our next?
23rd.
The 23rd at 7 o'clock. We'll be meeting there.
I thought you said 6:30.
I'm sorry, 6:30. That's why I'm saying it out loud, so you can remind me. 6:30 before, in the work session to go over some policing issues with the chief next week, or in 2 weeks.
Along those lines, Tim, I've talked to Shane about our meeting with Boston Heights, and maybe if you get a chance, fill them in a little bit before the meeting, that would be good. All right. Are there any other committee reports this evening? Hearing none, how about department reports?
Service department's currently ditching, berming, doing some pothole patching, and also street tree pruning. We're kind of enjoying one of the warmest winters I can remember. I think it's one of the top 5 so far. But I'll eventually give you a report here on what we've saved in salt and or wear and tear on the trucks and all that. I'm sure it should be substantial. That's all I have.
Jim, have you been to Florida this year?
No, sir.
The rumor was that you went to Florida and put some of that in a bottle and then came back here home and just opened up that bottle and it worked its magic.
Not yet.
All right, Mike.
Thank you, Mayor. Dunkin' Donuts, we received their plans. We did our first set of reviews on them. We had a lot of comments, so they do have it back and they're revising their plans. Shepherd Hills has started construction, and we're currently working with East Ohio Gas for the gas line at Highland Road. That's it, Mayor.
Very good. Angela?
Just tailing on Ken's comments, I'd just like to thank Crossroads Chiropractic for assisting us and partnering with us for our health fair last Saturday. It was a huge success. We serviced hundreds of people that came into the rec center that day. So many so that most of the organizations and hospitals that participated ran out of their freebies, their screening kits, everything. Everything was gone by the time that the event concluded. So we're already in talks and discussions to plan bigger and better for next year, and we're looking forward to that. So I'd like to thank them and everyone who came out and everybody who participated. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job. Scott?
Thank you, Mayor. In answer to the Public Works or Speak section of the council meeting earlier, the residents' concerns about, he asked about what the costs were. The HSA single plan is $6,485, and the family plan is currently at $14,858. And we're in a pool called BORMA, and only public entities can get into that pool, and you actually have to apply and have a petition, and then the current members, which we are obviously one of, decide, they review the other municipalities' claims history. And Denise Mulholland here, our HR director, set this up with our past finance director, Lauren Sangstock, and it significantly saved the city, I don't have the dollar figure in front of me, but a large cost savings measure when they went into this pool. And it's done from Medical Mutual, and they offer incentives also for wellness programs. So a lot of healthcare programs, they actually Snap Fitness and Weight Watchers, they want the employees to get involved in these things. And statistics have shown that when an employee will go ahead and start going into healthcare memberships, health clubs, that they obviously reduce their risk and of long-term health care. So when I see that there's some confusion, or at least some discussion about whether council, or for that matter, the employees should participate at a reduced rate at the Family Rec Center, I would think that would be a plus for our health care coverage in the long run. The savings obviously aren't going to be seen as immediate, but statistics have shown that anyone that's going to get involved, our health care cost will actually reduce, because just like our liability insurance, if you manage it properly, and there's different ways you can do that, our rates will go down substantially. And I see this, I know there's some issues about whether council should get into this program. And again, with my experience, I know Franklin Township, City of Franklin, they also fund their council members and mayor and elected officials health care. They let them get into that option, as well as Lawrence Township and Jackson Township. So it's across the board. It's not unheard of. And again, it's a benefit that obviously that council or past legislators have done, and I think it's not detrimental to the city at this point. We saved over $50,000 by switching carriers from our liability insurance last year, so that savings will pretty close offset to any cost that this health care benefit will extend to them. But they have the option, as with other employees, that if they do drop out of the program, they don't elect the coverage. We currently pay the employee $720 for the year if they chose not to accept that program. So there's people that opt out, maybe because their spouse has a better program, and we encourage that, because obviously if we're not paying their premium, we will save money in the long run. But I hope that answers some of the questions that residents had about what this would cost the city. On a brighter note, again, with Rita, their monthly distributions are sometimes, they don't always come in, so some of this money we're actually, for the month of January, the report that I issued to council shows us an increase of $205,000 from last year at this time. Rita, when they disperse these funds, they disperse them in the first of the month and the 15th. So sometimes these overlapping periods, some of this money can be contributed or to December's collections. But the January report we're up 48% in income tax. We collected $629,138 as opposed to last year during the same measuring period of $423,812. And again, it's tied to that 1/4% increase somewhat, and I've also supplied council with the factors, but as the economy is starting to rebound, at least in this area, we're definitely seeing more effect from individual withholdings and profits, and as compared to just a 1/4% increase. And I want to thank Dave with a lot of his input on the finance meetings that we will have, and we'll have another one, as he suggested, next week at this time, and I hope to clarify, and I know council's considered discussion about how we're going to be in the next 3 years as our income tax, and we'll have full reports on that, where we're going to be able to budget our money and pass a permanent appropriations, I hope, soon. That's all I have, Mayor.
Good job. All right, Tim?
Thank you, Mayor. The fire department's going to do a controlled burn of an acquired structure for training on February 14th. I sent an email out to council, received a couple questions back. We notified all of the surrounding households. We've gotten all of our permits, and it'll happen February 14th. There won't be any road closed or any traffic delays because of that. The roads will remain open. So if anybody has any questions on that, that'll take place February 14th during the day. That's all I have, Mayor.
All right. It isn't like your wife asked for something like that for a Valentine's present, or no? Okay, John.
A couple things, Mayor. I was reminded today that Civil Service has a change of officers. Mike Hawkins is now the chairman, and Kurt Lobinger is the vice chairman. I have a meeting, well, the mayor and I have a meeting tomorrow with the schools to address some of the issues with traffic. So hopefully we can clear some of that up. I know we've addressed some issues just recently with Northfield Village and the schools, so we're still working on that. And the police department has some nice pamphlets and little booklets. We'll have them here at City Hall. We'll have them at various locations around town. Lots of good information in here for you. And if you can, support the folks who paid for the magazine inside, the advertisement. So that's all I have, Mayor.
I'm going to pass this one around up here, John, because those
got 'em up
books are
front, too, also.
very, very good, very informative. Good job. Also, I'd like to thank Kurt Lobinger and congratulate him. Moving on, are there any other department reports, Joe?
No report, Mayor.
Is there any unfinished business?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make mention of one thing. A couple of speakers who spoke up here during the opportunity for the public to address council, some of the things they said were very disturbing, because what they did was they criticized the employees of this city. What it amounted to really is that we just had an election in Ohio, or I should say a referendum on issue number 5, and it was defeated. And the thing about it was that a couple of the speakers referred to the fact that they have a problem with how much public employees are being paid, how much public employees are being benefited, how public employees are being treated. And I have to say that over the years I've worked with various government officials on the federal level and on the state level and now on the municipal level, that I have the deepest and highest respect for these people who do a good job and who put in much more than the 40 hours that they're required to work, and who really give so much back. And I think to be critical of these people, as we heard tonight, I think it is really being very, very unfair to our employees. And I think there should be more respect, and I hope there will be.
Is there any other unfinished business?
Am I allowed to have any or no?
No.
We're done.
They're going to haul you out, Shirley.
Is there any new business?
Motion to adjourn into executive session.
Second.
Roll
Mr.
call.
Mr. Barker, yeah,
For personnel issues. And pending
and
litigation.
there's 3 things listed. And I'm going to give a roll call now. Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Darrell?
Yes.
Mr. Engel?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
All right, we're going to adjourn into executive session. We'll reassemble in there. We will only come out to adjourn the meeting. I don't believe there'll be any further actions. Thank you very much for coming.
Who was the second on that? Does anybody, who was the second? Who was the second?
Me.
Oh, you think?
I hope that nobody here took any of my comments being not appreciative of your services. It is not that at all, period. Okay.
I think you did really well, and you answered my question. What's it really going to cost?